Lesson 7.4, Identify Parts of Expressions. In today's lesson, we're going to describe the parts of an expression. So let's go ahead and get started. The first expression I've written is a numerical expression because we're only using numbers. We have no letters here that we're going to be using. And so the first thing you want to do with any type of expression is identify the operation that you're going to be using or working with. In this case, I'm going to be multiplying and I'm going to be adding. And so words that I might use to describe this type of expression would be product, sum, more, because they're explaining or expressing the multiplication and addition. And so a word expression that I might see is the product of 2 and the sum of 6 and 7. So the word product I'm using because I have multiplication. The word sum I'm using because I have the operation of addition. Let's take a look at another type of expression. In this case, I have an algebraic expression because I see that I have a letter attached to one of my numbers. And so in this case, it's 2 times x plus 8. And so I see that I'm going to have to be adding, but I also have to be multiplying because I have that variable attached to 2. When I have this variable attached to a number, I call that a coefficient because it's going to be multiplied. So that's another way you may see that expressed. And so if I were to identify the terms, I have 2x here is my first term. My second term is 8. And so the operation holding those two terms together is addition. And so one way that I may write a word expression for this is 8 more than the product of 2 and x. I see the word product came from my coefficient here because it's being multiplied by the 2, and more than I got from my addition sign here. And then I just filled in the numbers and variables I'm using. Let's go ahead and take a look at one more. So I see that I'm going to be subtracting, but I also see that coefficient again, which tells me I'm going to be multiplying. And so I'm going to be thinking of words that I use to help describe multiplying and dividing using the information I have. So the first thing I notice is that I have a subtraction sign. And so I know I'm going to be subtracting. So the difference of, then I see I have my first term. It's 3 multiplied by a. So 3, another word I can say for multiply is times. 3 times a. And that's because I have a second term here, which is 4b. And I'm going to simply state that. 4 times b. And so my word expression would be the difference of 3 times a and 4 times b. And so I've got all my operations covered and I've included all of my terms. Okay, let's try one more. We have a numerical expression here, so 7 times 9 minus 3. And so I see my operations are multiplying and subtracting, and I see I'm using the numbers 7, 9, and 4. And so one way I might write that would be the product of 7, and this tells me I'm going to my second part here, the difference of 9 and 4. So the product is here. I use the number 7, and then the difference of 9 and 4 is in my parentheses. And that's my word expression. What you're going to do is in your notebook, we're going to write down some keywords that you often see to help you put together expressions, solve expressions. So we're going to make 4 boxes, so you can fold your paper in half like 2-column notes. Our first 2 columns are addition and subtraction. Once you've copied these words down, continue to hit play. Okay, now we're going to move down to multiplication and division keywords. So you're going to just close your box from your addition and subtraction words from above, and we're going to title it multiplication division. You're going to copy down the keywords that you most frequently see when it comes to a word problem or having to write or read an expression. Once you have that copied down, continue to hit play. Okay, finally, we're going to have a test prep question. I do want you to copy this down because what I want to see is highlighting of your terms or your factors and your operations that you're going to be using, and then I want you to match this up. The one thing that we may have forgotten is in the last part where it says the divisor. Remember, the divisor is what we're using to divide a number, so that's what they're looking for. So you're going to go ahead and set up or look at your term, and I want you to go ahead and select the best possible answer. Once you have that done, continue to hit play. Okay, last, our essential question. How can you describe the parts of an expression? I want you to summarize in 2 to 3 sentences. How do we describe the parts? What were the parts that I discussed in this video? What are we looking for? What are we pulling out? And what key information are we using? All of that should be written in a complete sentence. Again, 2 to 3 sentences describing how you would go about solving or describing the parts of an expression. I look forward to discussing this with you in class tomorrow.